Plenty of Jets news to get to. Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, rookie takeover, injuries all over the place, Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, and so much more. Boy Green Daily on a weekend starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking wrong!
Good morning, great people. I'm Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Every.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your friggin' podcast, people. Happy Saturday and December 7th as we creep closer and closer to the Christmas holiday. We're going to get you ready for Jets Dolphins with my Pops prediction here on the program, plus an injury report that is wide-ranging with guys that are going to be out and some surprising guys that are going to be back. A lot of hoopla to get to, but without further ado, it is a Saturday. It is a Hop on Pop Saturday, and let's bring him in on the show, the Esden Zone.
Hey now, Boy Green. How's it going?
Well, it's great. I love that. Let's talk turkey. We'll get into some of that as well. And the Hop on Pop merch is all available in the link down below, as it always is at the Boy Green official merch shop. Again, we're still working on a couple of other new items. So always keep an eye on that so you never miss it, which will be great. But before we get started, Pop, you have something you'd like to share.
Yep, I'd love to share. I'd like to say happy birthday to the amazing Haley Esden. She turned 12 on December 5th. The little superstar. She went on a shopping spree that my wallet has not recovered from. But happy birthday to the Hayanator.
All right, there we go. There you go. And Fireman Ed was featured in that one, folks. Anywho, but there you go. It's a happy birthday, Haley, my sister. It was your birthday here this month. So happy birthday to the Haster, who was getting her special birthday. That's beautiful. Pop, I'm glad that you carved out some time for that one.
Yep. 12 years old, born in the 12th month in 2012. Triple 12.
A lot of 12s. Although just hearing someone being born in 2012 just sounds super weird. I'm just going to be honest. I have memories before 2012, but either way, let's get right into it here. And folks, we could go back to, well, first off, let me do this right off the top. I'd like to flip the ticker down here for the Boy Green emoji contest and the raffle giveaway, and I've made a change. I've called an audible at the line of scrimmage because I want to make it easier for people to understand, and I want to get more people involved. So every single membership that's gifted, including predating this from December 1st, I've been counting them all, and everyone going forward. You don't need 5 memberships anymore. It's just 1. Every membership you gift here on the channel, which again, if you're watching on YouTube, it's a money sign. Click that, gift memberships. And if you have issues, some people have iPhones, they can't gift memberships. You can super chat this as well. It's $2.99 per raffle ticket. Everyone gets a raffle ticket. It's no longer buy 5 to get 1 raffle ticket. We want to just simplify the process entirely. So every gifted membership gets you in the running for the emoji contest, and every gifted membership gives you a raffle ticket for all the giveaways we'll be doing with all kinds of awesome Jets merch. So we're going to simplify the process, make it easier, and make it more fun for everybody too. So it's only $2.99 a month for each membership, and there's no limit. So you can buy as many as you'd like. And I have an Excel sheet keeping track of all these. So obviously the more you buy, the greater your chances are of winning all these amazing prizes. So feel free to take advantage of those again throughout the rest of the entire month. So that will be available now. And every show I do, Boy Green meets Woody, post-game shows, that scrolling ticker will be available on all of them. And I will be keeping track throughout all of it. So it should be a lot of fun. Freaking.
What were the prizes again? I don't think you mentioned them.
Yeah, well, we've got some Jets jerseys we're giving away. We've got some autographed Jets merch, which you're going to see a couple of these go, whoa. And that will be the reaction to some of that stuff. So it's really a prize pack of epic proportions. We've got some custom Jets gear, jerseys, signed merch. I mean, it's an entire kind of hodgepodge of unbelievable things. And no, Jared B., I'm afraid not. My Golston jersey is off limits. That is a prized item here, people. So,
and that's why there's merchandise in the Boy Green store. Moron.
Well, again,
nobody wants a Golston jersey.
And
his
the
mother
original
wouldn't wear a Golston jersey.
That's not right. The 56. I will forever have that jersey. I think that was the old Reebok days too of that jersey. It was back in 2008. So we do have that one available. But no, so that is going on. So that's available. Also, PayPal or Venmo is also available. It's at BoyGreen25 if that's easier for you guys for the raffle emoji contest. So again, I want to include as many people as possible. I know a lot of people sometimes have problems gifting money or doing anything of that nature on YouTube. So PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, memberships, all of the above are all available. But the comment I wanted to get to at the beginning of the show for the topic of today's show is Breece Hall is doubtful for this game. And not only is he doubtful, maybe this will be a separate show later in the week, but I was reading Zach Rosenblatt's piece for The Athletic, and he said it wouldn't be surprising if Breece gets shut down for the rest of the season. There's 5 games remaining, so a surprise IR visit could happen for Breece, which, again, would essentially rule him out for the rest of the season, so keep an eye out for that one. But in the immediate, Breece Hall is not going to play in this game. He's doubtful. That's like if you look at a pie, right? Guy's playing that's 100%, probable that's 75%, questionable, man, 50-50, yeah, maybe he will, maybe he won't. Doubtful is 25%. That's how I evaluate in terms of the percentages. So Breece is not going to play in this game from all intents and purposes. And Dave Briga, the very first comment on this video today, Agent Zero, isn't that your Pops guy, if I'm correct? Good morning, all. And yes, my father did catch a little bit of flack, though, because earlier in the season he said, hey, look, we played Braylon Allen more, and he looked great. Look at me. That's what I said. And I'm like, Dad, it's like saying, Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback. A lot of people were saying, let's feed Braylon Allen, Dad. I mean,
that's not true. We don't want to go through the list of how I've been right this year.
Sure.
Whether it's Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall. You don't want to go through how many times I've been right. But here's the real fact, the real mystery fact. The average moron would look at the stats for Braylon Allen and go, look, obviously they're running Breece Hall more because Breece Hall gets 4.2 yards per carry and Braylon Allen only gets 3.6. That's because you're a moron. The reality is Braylon Allen in 7 of the Jets games has gotten 5 yards or less a carry. He is the kind of running back that you must feed the ball to. When he got more than 5 carries outside the New England game, who had a stout run defense, he excels because he's a pounding guy. And after 5, 6, 7 times, you don't want to tackle him anymore. His yards per rush go up exponentially by the more time you give him the ball. And you just look at this year's stats. But the fact that 7 of the games this year, right? So 7 out of 12, right? There's been 12 games. 7 out of 12, he's got the ball 5 times or less. And a couple times it's like 1 or 2. And you're like, well, he only got 2 yards that game. He got 1 freaking carry. Right? Similar to the return, gentlemen. Similar to Breece Hall learning it. He can catch the ball. We're going to find out that this Braylon Allen kid, Agent Zero, is pretty freaking good when he gets the showcase. And by the way, for the Jets people that are not listening, he needs the ball 20 plus times. And then if he comes out with a crappy yards per carry average, you can go, oh, hop on pop, you're wrong. You're full of crap. What did you know? You give him 7 times and you're like, see? And then that's the only time they run the ball, right? That's not going to show it. Pound the rock with Agent Zero. That's what I got to say.
All right, a couple of memberships coming in here. Jared B. gifting a membership, baby. Very, very nice. And FL Phil 98 getting in on all the fun, too. Those memberships went to Lee Van, a good guy on the channel, and Anderson Simpson. You guys are both now members to the Boy Green Coffee Club, and you both earned raffle tickets. Like I said, we have a running Excel sheet, so I'm keeping track of all this. So wonderful, and thank you guys for your support for the Boy Green Coffee Club, baby, as we continue to expand the members there. And here's my fear of what you just said, Pop. It's that, so Kene Nguanu, the talented running back and return man. Apparently, he's going to get some touches in the backfield too on Sunday, so that should be a trip. But he had been on the team's practice squad since September, but we just saw him recently. Like, whoa, this guy's pretty good. Like Braylon's been on the 53-man roster, but if he goes crazy in this game and he looks like mini Derrick Henry again with 100-something yards rushing, we're going to be like Jet fans. Are going to be like, the hell? Why weren't we doing this all season long? Because we have been struggling to run the football. Breece Hall had not had a game with 20-plus carries in it. And so if he didn't, then no other running back did. So, like, we weren't committing to the run game. And the fact of the matter is, as much as this Jets season has sucked, the Jets have only been blown out on very rare occasions. The Cardinals game that got blown out. The 49ers game that got blown out. But Aaron Rodgers 5 times had the ball in his hands. Yes, that one eventually was, but the point I'm trying to make is not like, oh man, if you flip these games, the Jets turn it around. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm really trying to say is that all those games were in the mix, so you could have run the ball. The Jets had that 15-6 lead against the Steelers in the first half. Like, they could have been running the football. And then the 5 games, like I said, that Aaron Rodgers had the ball at the end where he could have won it, means that all those games were in the mix to be able to run the ball. So it's not like it's been a game script issue where the Jets are losing 40-0 in the first half. They're like, well, we have no choice. Aaron, time to throw it around. Like, Aaron's been throwing it around no matter what the situation has been, and we haven't been getting the running game going. So like I said, it will be hair-pulling regardless of the result of the game. If Braylon Allen runs well, I think a lot of us are going to be like, damn. Like, if we would have been running the ball the whole season, we would have had different balance. And my fear, my inkling, not fear, because it would be good news to see Braylon show some chutzpah. My gut tells me Braylon is going to run very well. And Isaiah Davis is going to get opportunities as well in this game.
The Jackrabbit,
who I'm really excited for. He got his first touchdown on Sunday. Cool play design. It's really great. So
I think it's an opportunity to use that combo with Braylon in the lead and Isaiah Davis, the 1-2 Thunder and Lightning that I was preaching back in the preseason for Breece and Braylon that we never saw this year. I think we could do it in this game. Ball, I guess we're getting way ahead of it, but I'll just say it, right? Controlling the time of possession for the Jets. You don't want Tua, right, to have time. You want to keep the ball out of his hands, and you do that by running the ball. That's the Jets. If there was any possibility of a Jets win today, any possibility
tomorrow,
it's ball control and keeping the ball out of their hands. It's not 3 yards and 3 plays in a pot of dust and the puncher coming out.
Yeah, and but again, there's no Sauce Gardner. He's also doubtful for this game. And I know he's not officially ruled out yet, but folks, neither Breece or Sauce is not playing in this game, which means I'm just afraid because Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith has been eating it up in the middle of the field. And the Dolphins have dominated this rivalry, if that's what you want to call it, with the New York Jets. They've won 13 of the last 16 games. They swept the Jets last year and won 64-13 combined score over those 2 games. And both of them were bad. So, you're telling me. So, for the first time ever, I'm going to give my official prediction on the show tomorrow, but I'll lay it straight if anyone listens on the radio side. We do all of our picks against the spread. I've never picked against the Jets in our picks against the spread. And we also have a box drop lock of the week where you're the pick you feel most confident in. And I did 2 things yesterday. I picked against the Jets. My box drop was the Dolphins will beat the Jets by at least 6. So that is unfortunate reality, but here we are. So I will be rooting. Say that one more time.
Did you just give your pick?
No. I'm saying that's the point spread. That's the thing. It's not the official pick of like, hey, it'll be this score. I'll give that tomorrow on the show with Woody. But again, when I'm in front of the TV tomorrow, I'll be rooting for touchdowns and Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson and all these crazy guys to make plays. But reading the room, looks like the Jets are going to 3-10.
All right. Are we doing that to part of the discussion now? We're going to come back to it.
No, sure. Let's just unload it, I guess, because we got a lot to get to. So sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, give your
But,
opinion.
I'm with you. This game is going to go ugly early. I'll tell you that. And I'll say it here. Maybe it'll go viral, whatever you kids are calling it nowadays. My MVP is Tua for the NFL. Just to be clear,
What?
I'm talking about the NFL. No, see that minimum wage look on your face? I said it. They're going to win for the last 5 games. The Dolphins are, and then he will have won 7 out of 9 games. They're not going to make the playoffs because the 7th seed right now already has 8 wins. I
Yes.
expect the Dolphins to have 9 wins. And I expect those teams that have 8 wins to win at least 1 out of the next 5. What is the most valuable player? The player that makes the most significant contributions to his team. It's not Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry beside him, right? He's not the most valuable player. Without Tua, this Dolphins was a crap show on the way to 1-15 season. With Tua, they're going to go 9-7. That is going to be the most significant player in the NFL, the MVP. If that's what we're otherwise, call it something different. Call it the quarterback on the team that's the most successful. Then you could call it a different award. But you're calling about the most valuable player to his team, and it's Tua.
In the NBA,
because they're not winning games.
Say that one more time.
I said Burrow cannot be the MVP because they're not winning any games.
Well, that
right. Barry Sanders was never the MVP of the NFL, for the record.
Well, that's one reason why Tua would be ruled out immediately, because he wouldn't be, to your prediction, wouldn't be a playoff team. If they're not a playoff team, you don't have an MVP on a non-playoff team. We'd have to look back.
Well, that's the whole thing. You also don't pick the most valuable player. Lamar Jackson's not been the most valuable player, although he keeps winning the award.
My vote would go to Saquon right now, to be honest with you, because they're an awesome team that's winning a bunch of games, and he's clearly made the difference. When you look at last year's roster, this year's roster, everything is basically the same outside of Saquon. So to me, he would be my MVP vote.
I'm saying I'm saying Tua should be in the running.
Yeah, and I'm saying
I know what you're saying. I heard you.
In the NBA, they have rules now where you have to play insert amount of games to even be eligible. Tua's missed a large chunk of the season. How could he possibly be eligible? And I don't care what stats he has.
He'll play like 10 games.
Yeah, out of a 17-game season, how could you miss that many games and even be eligible for the conversation? Well, unless you truly made up the difference. Like
when you're on the show on Monday, you can think back when his stats come out for the Sunday's game. You go, maybe there was something there.
But I don't think beating the shit out of the Jets suddenly makes you go, oh, well, obviously, here you go. That in itself is like, well, it'll be the Jets. That'll be it. Like, come on, Bob. What are we talking about here?
Okay.
MVP. I just again, I think the Dolphins are going to win, and I think they probably and Tua's been red hot the last 3 games. He has 9 touchdowns, no picks, 77% completion percentage, and just under 1,000 yards. His numbers are awesome, and I imagine the Jets are not going to stop any of that momentum that's happening. But just MVP. I just missed games, and the team's not winning.
Missed games. All right. Calm down. This guy's playing like his head is like a brittle. I can't even.
So does he get a special rule? Like, sorry, buddy, here's yours. What? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, there you go.
There we go. We got to get that one on the next T-shirt from FL Phil 98. Pop may not always be right, but he's never wrong. See?
There you
go. Let's crochet that one up. But that makes absolutely no sense.
It's like the Heisman, right? Right. The MVP, whether you like my take on Tua being in the consideration, I think the response just goes to Shea. Yes, he's missed a lot of games, but who is making the most impact on the team? If that was MVP, then it's not that outlandish to consider him. But the Heisman is a joke, right? The Heisman doesn't ever go. The Heisman hasn't gone to the most valuable player on a team for a long time. Running backs are hardly ever considered. No other, like you go back to Charles Woodson, right? When you had a 2-way player, right? The Heisman is the same as whatever they call is it the Jim Thorpe Award for quarterbacks? It's almost always the same person. So, but
Davey
anyway.
O'Brien, I think. But
Yeah.
anywho, the point is that, okay, if we're going to call this a Heisman, then what has been Tua's Heisman moment this year? Lamar Jackson's in college was he leapfrogged a grown man in the Syracuse game.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be a single play. I think it
No,
has to be a body of work.
but if we're
And
using
he also
the
has to
Heisman thing
finish
like a Heisman,
he also has to finish 5 games. He's got 5 games to go. I'm saying right now he's made a step change improvement of the Miami Dolphins. And without him, they're whatever they are. They don't have 4 wins. They're back. They still have 1 win.
but isn't that a bigger indictment on the Dolphins for not properly having a backup quarterback? So then the stark difference between Tua and the next guy is so massive because the Dolphins didn't do their job. If they did their job, it shouldn't have been as much of a stark difference.
Should we talk about this? Doesn't this hurt to talk about?
No,
You haven't curled up in a ball yet?
no.
Talk about not having a backup quarterback.
Well,
Your season being
we have one
destroyed.
now, but it's unfortunate that the rest. Again, if we would have flipped and had Tyrod Taylor last year, maybe the Jets were a lot different team, but we didn't. So
They definitely would have been a much different team.
which is an unfortunate reality. Like I said, if we could have had
Tyrod,
these things in,
if you had Tyler Taylor last year, the Jets wouldn't have this. The playoff streak would be over.
yeah, there's a strong case for that to be made. All right. Also, with the injury losses for the Jets, there is some surprising injury returns, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't think either of these two guys, which I'm about to say, are both expect to be activated off of IR. That should happen later today in like the 3-4 o'clock range. Officially for the roster maneuvers. Wes Schweitzer, who hurt his hand right before the season, has been out the entire season, and suddenly he's going to be back, which gives you some depth on the interior. That's sort of nice. Although it looks like AVT and Morgan Moses will both be ready to go, so the starting 5 should be in place, but it's good to have that insurance. And then Alan Lazard, he's been gone the last month with a strange chest injury that, the coaching staff kept calling funky and other weird words you don't normally hear described with an injury. And before Alan Lazard went out, he was among the league leaders, not just team leaders, league leaders in receiving touchdowns. He had 5 at the time, which was, again, among the league leaders, may have been the league leader when he went out. And he still is the team leader with tied with Garrett Wilson for 5 touchdowns right now. So now you got Davante, Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Alan Lazard. That's a pretty strong 3 for old Aaron Rodgers there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Aaron has showed more connection with Lazard than anyone. Garrett Wilson's been coming along, but Davante Adams caught passes better for Minshew or whatever scrub quarterback was behind him. He got more yards per game with the Raiders than he has with the Jets since his tenures. And I think it's just barely he has more yards just now, barely having played more games with the Jets than he did the Raiders.
That makes sense. With the Raiders, they had no one to throw to. With the Jets, they have Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, and all these other guys. When you can force feed
why did they get
target,
him?
Of course.
So why did they get him?
They didn't get him just to be.
Why did they get him? What's his yards per
win.
game? What's his yards per game since he's been with the Jets?
No idea.
Ballpark. You don't have any idea?
If I had to guess, it's probably it's like 60 yards.
It's less than 60 yards a game.
Okay. But they didn't get him just for the stat chasing. They got him to win ball games.
You know how ridiculous
worked.
you sound now, right now?
What do you mean? They brought him in to win games, not get him.
Has he helped them win any games?
I just said it didn't. But you're saying, why did they bring him in? They brought him in for this reason, but it failed.
They brought him in because of the connection. There'll be no drop-off. He knows this offense. He's going to come in and dominate. These are all Boy Green hashtag quotes.
Yeah.
That now sound a little stale.
Okay. So go ahead. I know you have something to say on Davante. Might as well get that off your chest while we're here.
No. He was asked, where is he going to be at next year?
Yeah.
And I was a strong advocate that signing Davante, bringing him in, did not make the Jets better. Was not going to make the Jets better. They shouldn't do it. It wasn't what they needed. They should have got, you're going to go out there and search something. You needed a fatty in the middle. You needed some more, there's a lot of positions that needed help. Wide receiver wasn't at the time, right? Lazard was still healthy when they signed Davante Adams, right? It was right. And he was right after that is when Lazard kind of went out with that weird chesticle injury. But I would tell you that,
Davante was asked, you said that.
He was asked, and now he's already, when he shows up, I'm a Jet for life. This is where I want to be. Now he's like, man, now the season's not even over. There's 5 games to go. And he's like, well, I'm
That's
not sure. That's what he said.
he said.
Run the tape.
This is the tape. I'd love to be back, but there's a lot of things that are out of my control. And he said, "Is Aaron Rodgers coming back? My contract and the quiet part out loud is the Jets nor any team on planet Earth would bring Davante Adams back in his contract. So it would require either that team cutting him, the Jets, or renegotiating the contract. So yes, Davante Adams said he'd love to be back, but there's a lot of things outside his control. So we'll see what happens.
What's his salary cap hit for the next 2 years?
36 million and change.
38.3 million.
Well, that's cap hit versus what's going to actually be on the books.
Right.
It's what he's scheduled for, but he has no guaranteed money, so the Jets could just cut him and there'd be no loss.
Yeah, and I imagine that they're going to cut him, right?
To me, what I would again, a lot of what we're going to talk about over the bunch of weeks, not just today, is going to be kind of stuck in a wall of, well, we don't know who the head coach and GM is, so that probably helps answer. And which direction? Are the Jets ripping off the floorboards and getting this thing to the studs? Or are they saying, well, if we bring in a veteran quarterback, we could do what the Jets did better and try to compete right now? So it'll be interesting to see which decision they make, which path in the fork in the road they make. But to me, again, we don't know who the head coach GM is, so I'll keep using that caveat. But I would try to bring Davante back if he's willing to come back. He said he'd love to come back. Let's see if we could work out the number. Obviously, it's not going to be 36 million, but would he be willing to come back for less? And it seems like he sort of would be open to it. Again, we're going to have to get down to the nitty gritty on the numbers, but he said he didn't move his family over here, and they're not completely moved over. He has a house over in Vegas too, but he said he wouldn't completely move over here for a rental. He didn't come here for 3 months with the Jets if it goes horrible, and then see you Jets, I'm going to the Cowboys or something. Like he said that he wanted to be here, so they would have to figure that out. So I would try to figure it out because I think Davante's still a really good player, and I'd love for him and Garrett to play another full season together.
I think it really hinges on this. I think, you're almost there, but I'll interpret what you said, right?
Okay.
To me, you come in, you're the GM.
Yeah.
Right. And in the GM and the head coach, when you sit there, you say things behind closed doors that, unless you're Robert Saleh, that you don't
year and a half, 2 years, top.
You don't say out loud, right?
What?
And so, right, you come in, and and frankly, it's not in today's world, right? And the candidates are on this, the 33rd, whatever it is called,
33rd
right?
team. Yeah,
they're gonna, before you go to the interview, you've already assessed and evaluated everything about the Jets because you can see it, right? The salary cap, you can evaluate the players, you could do that. And if you don't,
a lot
do
of
that
it is
before you go to your
info.
interview,
right?
If you don't do that before you go to the interview, so behind closed doors, they know, they conceptually where are we at, right? And the thing they won't say out loud is they're like, well, really, for the most part. We're gonna do this, and this, and all. With all that being said, realistically, we're 3 years out. Whatever that. Let's just say. Let's say that's where you do all the number crunching, the numbers scan by, and you're like, realistically, things roll our way. 3 years from now, we expect to be competing based on having to do this. If that's the outcome you come with, then you don't sign Davante Adams, right?
If you come to that conclusion behind closed
whatever
doors,
that, right,
take 1,000
and
years.
that's it. Whatever it comes to, if you think that a plug and play, and I don't see that with this team with all the pieces, the people they're injured, they're moving on, the contracts that they have to jockey around, the uncertainty at quarterback. If you're asking today, I don't see Davante coming back because I think that number is 2 to 3 years, or I think it's 2 to 3 years. It's not next year. And it's unlikely to be 2 years, but I think the number is 3 years. But anyways, so you don't want Davante. That's just wasted money that you could get on a younger player, right? Davante Adams on a true run by the Jets in 2027, 2028, right, is probably not going to be worth that you paid him because he's not a discount double check kind of guy. And what I mean by that is he's going to want north of $25 to $30 million a year, and the Jets shouldn't pay him that.
I'm not sure if we'll get that high, but still, there's a lot that obviously is left unknown. You say that it would be a waste for Davante to be here for all these years if it's going to be a rebuild. I
don't care about Davante. I say it would be a waste for the Jets.
Yeah, right. Either way, but the point stands. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because when you draft a rookie, the standard contract, well, considering non-first round pick, is 4 years. So if you're wasting the rebuild of those cheap years instead of competing, by the time that kid comes around and it's pay me time, that's funny enough, it will be the same time that Davante Adams is what he is. So I think there's a strong conversation that you're wasting it in that way too, unless you're developing into this great thing that you're then going to have to pay when it's finally time to compete. So I think you can make a strong case the other way.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I need that 38 million or whatever the number is to pay the Wilson, to pay the Sauce, to pay the next quarterback. I don't need it to pay for a receiver who has not produced for the Jets with the person he aligns with and has the most compatibility with out there. He hasn't brought it to the table. And that actually almost segues into the next thing we're going to talk about it's not what Davante Adams has done in his career. What have you done for the Jets? Yes. Right. So forget everything, because nobody gives a shit what you did before. Mm-hmm. What have you done since we signed you and brought you over and you magically healed your hamstring, you big pussy?
Again, the thing I would say is, and maybe this excuse making, but Davante, whatever Davante is or was going to be, even if he was amazing and awesome and an all-pro, we'd be like, damn, and he did this in the middle of the season. That means there's more to attain if he was actually around and focused and all things controlled, like he was here from the get-go, he would be a better player because of that. So, again, that would be, even if he was awesome, that's what I would be convincing. Holy crap, he's already here. Imagine he's going to be here once we get the offseason and he's around the whole thing instead of being thrown into this storm. So that he's bad, the first thing I think of is like, it's only going to be better if he does return, because things are going to be. He was acquired in the middle of the season after a game and slap him on the ass. All right, let's go, Davante. Let's figure out your whole new location and everything in the middle. We thought, I'll say it, not even we, I'll go to me. I thought that the transition would be easier because of plays and experience with Aaron Rodgers and all that stuff. And obviously I was wrong, because he is not immediate. He hasn't had a 100-yard receiving game yet with the New York Jets. So that has not occurred. But I would say that if he comes back next year, I think we're going to get better, better than what we've seen, Davante Adams.
Yeah, he only gets, to me, he gets the OBJ contract. He gets the Allen Lazard contract, or I don't bring him back.
The OBJ contract's a 1-year deal for $3 million. What are you talking about, the Lazard? His 4-year, $44 million, like $11 million per year is what you're saying?
I would pay him $10 million a year. I didn't have the OBJ numbers in front of me, so to be honest, but I wouldn't pay him more than $10 million a year. He comes, and he's obviously not going to come back for that. But if he wanted to come back for that, if he was going to come back for that, sign me up. Absolutely keep him. But he doesn't get north of $12 million. Does not.
I think, and again,
when I say 12 million, I'm prorating Lazard's contract, whatever that money is today, because there's a number, he got 11 million today. That's 12, 13. That's what he's worth.
Yes. I would say there's a lot of questions we have that we don't have answers to. Who's the quarterback? Is it Aaron coming back? I bet if Aaron's coming back, Davante will take a different price if he's playing with Aaron, his best friend, as he called him. If he's not, and it's unknown rookie, it probably takes a different price. If it's random veteran, maybe it takes a different price. So there's, again, a lot that we don't know for that, so it's hard to answer.
Aaron Rodgers better not come back.
But let's go to your Aaron Rodgers point, because it seems like, and I wish I kept the clip up there, of, is your biggest beef, let me make sure, because if so, I can grab the clip. Is your biggest beef with Aaron Rodgers the thing about having something to prove?
Yes.
Okay. Well, wait just a second. I have that clip. I'm pretty sure that's.
By the way, we need to have. You need to get a moniker, and I don't care if it's my voice or somebody's voice that you like bookend when you run the segments like this. And at the front, you're like, and you go, and here's a moron, and then after he gets done, and that was a moron.
We'll work on that. I believe we have the clip, so let's roll this footage, since this is something I know you wanted to get into. Here we go.
It said something like, maybe you guys can change the vibes or prove something in these last 5 games. Do you look at this as an opportunity to maybe make your case to stay? I know it's kind of ridiculous given your resume, but
I think it is ridiculous, with all due respect. If they want me to stay, fantastic. If it takes these 5 games, maybe they don't know what I bring to the table. But that being said, I'd love to play really friggin' well the last 5 games.
So I appreciate that you ran that, because I'm going to give this much cred to
Ooh,
Aaron because
okay.
the reporter used the word ridiculous first.
And that's
if
what
he
I
had-
said earlier.
If
That,
he had stopped
yeah,
after that first part, if Aaron Rodgers had just said, yeah, it's ridiculous, and then went on, then I would have little to say. But then he said the second part.
yes.
And that just proves how much of an arrogant prick that he is.
Yes,
Right.
And I just want to say it's very important because for people that aren't in media, that are just fans, they don't understand what just happened there. What us as media do, we're sickos, okay? What we try to do is try to get parroting, okay? I'm interviewing my dad. My dad's a superstar athlete. Hey, wow, that was a tough game. And then I try to use some adjective to describe something. Hey, man, that game was pretty disappointing, wouldn't you say? And then the player hears that, and they normally grab the word off the top of the pile. Yeah, that was pretty disappointing. But then when you do a story after the game, Aaron Rodgers says the game was incredibly disappointing. You're like, and then fan goes, whoa, he said what? But really, he just parroted the word that the media member used.
That's
now,
right.
Aaron's normally pretty good about that. And he, like, if people try to feed him stuff, he's like, no, I wouldn't say that. I would, and then go in a different way. So he did take the word, but it's important to note that the media person's the one that said, well, it is kind of ridiculous. So when media people do that, they give an out to the player and all these different words. So long story short, we can make fun of, criticize anything you want with that, but I just think that is important to note that he picked the word from the reporter who said it.
Yeah, and and that's what I was starting with, that I was giving the credit for that first thing until he said the rest of it, which proved that he is an arrogant prick, right? That's a word for today, by the way. What do you bring to the table? This is a National Football League. This is not, you're on some job. There's like 6 or 7 people, and the guy, like I can't remember the movie. It wasn't a movie. It was, it doesn't matter. But anyways, so when you have an older or more seasoned person, the younger people kind of pick up the slack. If you're doing a job, you're building, right? The older person's not going to be able to pull the same amount of load as he was 30 years ago. He's been on the job for 40 years. Like, oh, that's all right. We know, you feel for him, you help him out. That's not the NFL, right? People were calling for Tom Brady's head in New England when he wasn't playing well, right? And when even in Tampa, the second year, there you could hear the rumblings. And thank God, after the Cowboys beat him like a baby seal in the playoffs, he kind of limped into the media. But that's not here. It's you have come to the Jets. And actually, this leads me to say, for God's sakes, change the intro to the show. I love the intro to the show, but take the Aaron Rodgers part out of it, because all it has been is a nightmare for the Jets. This experiment couldn't have gone worse. Aaron Rodgers is the LVP of the league, the least valuable player. And I will tell you, there's his dad going again. 5 games he had the ball in his hand to win this year. 5. And that's just those 5. We're forgetting all the other ones that he could have made, right?
And the other 3 quarters. Yes.
Right, the other 3 quarters. But those 5 games, if the Jets had won those 5 games, right, and won 1 or 2 of those other ones, right, all these one-score games, that's what he came for, right? If you had one player, and it's literally him. He's used his Wonder Woman bracelets. Ting, ting. Oh, it's Mike Williams' red line. Ting, ting. Oh, I can't believe, whatever it is. Mr. Excuses. But against the Colts, what was the excuse when he looked like a bumbling 90-year-old person and needing a walker to finish up the game when all they needed was a field goal and he had a minute left with a timeout? Any quarterback in the league is supposed to do that. So for him to say they don't know what I bring to the table, we know exactly what you're currently bringing to the table, Grandpa, and it's nothing good. Nobody wants you eating that food you're bringing to the table. So that was a ridiculous thing. And he goes, what he could have said is, and he could have even this time would have been acceptable to me if he brought the team in. We need to demonstrate. We owe the fans to go out there in these last 5 games and show them, what the New York Jets are all about. That would have been a perfect thing to say, as opposed to the shitty thing he said. Well, if they don't know what I bring to the table by now, maybe they don't deserve me. Well, excuse me, Your Royal Highness. I mean, that's just stupid. You have been miserable. You've set this franchise back, and it's not the 2 years that he's been here. You've set this franchise back at least 5 years. And that's what you bring to the table. Thanks a lot. Eat up.
Wow. Some powerful comments there, but I will say that coming off of that, as much as I love Aaron Rodgers and everything else, I looked at it and went, oof, of course he has something to prove. He just turned 41. He didn't look great coming off the bye, which is not a great indicator of what we're going to get in these final 5 games. Although I will tell you, I said it on air earlier this week in the our Yahoo Fantasy Football Chumps League. If I win in this final regular season game, I punch my ticket as the number 1 seed and buy and all that. And my quarterback, Lamar Jackson's on a bye, and I'm trusting Aaron Rodgers, baby, to lead me to the promised land.
And you're my son, and I love you.
Sure.
And I love that start because when you lose the game this week, you know who's going to have the number 1 seed in the bye? This guy who's knocking on the. Hello? Who is that?
No.
Oh, it's your dad. Get out of my way. I'm getting the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. We'll see what happens there. Let's before we open up the phone lines, I know you had a couple of items on your list. I want to make sure we get to all of them, and I know we've had a winding road here, so I know we may have touched on some of them. But what are some other points you wanted to get to here, Jets land wise?
Yeah, I would like to say that I think that it should not go unforgotten, and I love the article that you wrote. It was a perfect quote from the Dead Poets Society on your article about CJ Mosley.
My captain.
Oh, Captain, my captain. And I think that CJ Mosley will go down as likely. He will not get what he brought to the Jets, what he did for the Jets, where he stands in the Jets' legacy of defensive players will go undervalued for a few reasons. He got injured in 2019. He was one of the few significant players, and it was right after the Jets signed him. He's one of the few big ticket players that opted out for the COVID, and people may not remember that. So he had an injury-shortened season in 2019. He only played in 2 games. Correct. He missed the entire 2020 season, because and then after that, he had 3 of the best years in Jets history, and led the NFL, 5-time All-Pro. It's unfortunate that this year has gone the way it's gone with all the games he missed. But I will tell you this, he's not going to be up there. And when you look at the stats, the all-time Jet stats, he's in the top 10 for the Papa Aston loves tackles. He's in the top 10 for the most tackles in the Jets. But that's only half his career. But I'll tell you this, with the Jets, all-time, he is second all-time in tackles per game. Second. So
that's pretty crazy.
He is right. And so if there's a player the Jets are going to put in whatever their version of the Ring of Honor or whatever it is.
Ring of Honor. Yeah, that's what it's called.
So CJ Mosley belongs there, right? He was the heart of the Jets defense when it was the number 1 defense in the league for years. And hopefully the Jets do something like that for him. He brought a lot to the table. It's sad the way his career ended. I don't see any way, shape, or form he's going in the Hall of Fame, but he definitely deserves to be in the Jets Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he has 1 year left on his deal, but again, when you address all the obvious things, he'll turn 33 during the offseason. This is a serious neck injury here, age, contract, the seriousness of this injury. I believe his Jets career is over. I believe he will be released this offseason. And quite frankly, his NFL career could be over. I was reading some other stuff from other insiders, and they talked about how this could be, quite frankly, the end of his NFL career, which is sad. And I will just say and I know this is a joke because of all the darkness Aaron Rodgers stuff, but in the darkness that has been this Jets will be 14-year playoff drought. And I know Mosley obviously wasn't there for all of it, but when he came in for the Baltimore Ravens, and again, he came in on a big contract. He didn't come to the Jets for just the love of his heart. He came obviously on a big record-setting money deal. But when he came in here, he talked about how committed he was to turning this around, and I don't care about all this losing that's happening. We're going to do this, and he was just, again, a light in the darkness. That he was rallying this group. of Jets, and when things were going south during seasons, everyone looked to CJ Mosley to say, hey, what do we do now? And again, to your point, he looked like another bust in a long line of bad Jets free agent signings through his first 2 years with the COVID opt-out, and then we got the tease. That first half game of his first game ever as a Jet, he got a pick six, the ball just found him, and he went into the end zone. We got a 16-0 lead against the Buffalo Bills. It felt like the Jets were going to take over. Le'Veon Bell, that was his first season. He had a great that game, and then we're all like, okay, we're about to go crazy. And, of course, everything fell apart. Jets end up losing that game 17-16 to the Buffalo Bills. Mosley's basically lost for the season. And, CJ Mosley will go down as one of the true Jet greats. It's awesome for his tenure with the team. That's the only thing I feel really sad about when I heard the Mosley news yesterday. It's like, damn, I wish we could have won more. When there was a chance Mosley wasn't going to return this season because of contract stuff, I'm like, damn, that would be a shame if he's not here with the Aaron Rodgers trip of like, we thought this Aaron Rodgers season was going to be special. We thought it was going to be special, obviously, last year. And then this year, he was coming back and there's a chance Mosley wouldn't. I'm like, it wouldn't feel right if the Jets go on this playoff run and do all these things and Mosley's not a part of the team. So when they were able to rework the contract and Mosley took a pay cut to come back, I was like, this is amazing. Great. I'm glad Mosley's finally going to be a part of this because this feels right. And obviously, now that does not look like it's going to be the case. So if he wants a future in football, coaching, or being around the Jets in any form or fashion, I would take him back absolutely easily. He's a good human being, good man. He does all this great charity work outside of football too. So again, a major salute. I'm glad that we got to that too for old CJ Mosley. I want to make sure that we don't forget this one because I know we're getting memberships in as well. Shout out to our number one Austrian Jet fan, baby, for another membership and of course another raffle ticket. Our number one Austrian Jet fan. Again, every membership you guys gives you a raffle ticket. We've amended the rules. And shout out to Addison, who was just gifted a membership, a good commenter on our Boy Green Coffee Club channel. So, Austrian, you've gotten another raffle ticket for, again, our great contest coming up later this month. You guys can all gift memberships or even buy memberships for yourself to get into that conversation. So, salute, captain, my captain, to CJ Mosley, team leader.
And by the way, the number one leader for the Jets in tackles per game is Mr. Vilma. Just for the
Jonathan Vilma, which
he's number one.
Which, by the way, a former defensive rookie of the year and everything else for the Jets. And he went on to great success when the Jets traded him away to the Saints. He won a Super Bowl and all that stuff. We'll be hearing, I've got a story coming out with some conversation with Jonathan Vilma coming out next week. So we'll be talking to Jonathan Vilma after the Jets game. We won't be doing a video interview for this, but it'll be a print story. So guys, make sure you check that out. There'll be some good stuff coming up on that.
Yeah, just to put CJ Mosley in perspective, he's in the top 10 in tackles all time for Jets for effectively 3 seasons. Let that marinate in your head.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets have had a lot of great linebackers in their history. David Hitman Harris is one that I think a lot of Jet fans will be fond of over the last 10, 15 years. Obviously, go back to the Super Bowl days of Larry Grantham. I actually had a radio listener give me this like autographed old school Larry Grantham photo back from the 60s, and that's a cool one that I have somewhere in my office. So shout out Larry Grantham, David Hitman Harris, CJ Mosley, Mo Lewis, damn, I mean, and I'm going to forget some people too, but there's just been a lot of awesome Jets linebackers throughout history. So tip of the cap to him. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and I'll, just on that, David Harris, it'd be a crime not to mention that he crushes the competition. He has more tackles for the Jets than the top 2 people combined behind him. He is number 1 in career tackles for the Jets. 2 and 3 don't make up the number of tackles that he's had. I just figured I'd throw that out there. That's the gap of excellence there. As far as now, he played a lot of years, but still, that's impressive.
Yeah, there's a couple. Sometimes you buy a Jet jersey, you're like, am I ever going to wear this out in public again? A Le'Veon Bell, a Jamal Adams. You're like, I don't feel. I bought this, and I don't feel great about this. I'll still wear that one, but. There are some that even after their careers are over, you're like, like you're wearing that. People in public go, oh,
yeah,
hey,
right. You go to the game,
Mosley, David Harris.
To the game, and then there's somebody like you go to a Cowboys game and someone's wearing a 40 Bill Bates jersey.
Yeah,
and you're like, Respect.
Exactly. That's what I mean. There's like the respect thing for certain jerseys that you wear, right? Everyone gets a name. It's okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Don Maynard or something. But like
Yeah, that's
David
cheap
Harris,
street.
like,
Right.
like
Right.
CJ Mosley. Hey now. All
you
right.
really get it. That's right.
Yeah, which is super cool. Super cool. Anything else on your list, Pop?
No, I think, well, I guess we could do the prediction for the Dolphins.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, without, if this was the first game of the season or game 4 of the season, right, the Jets, even with Brees Hall out, knowing all that data, Lazard coming back, if this was game 4 of the season, this prediction would be completely different. But you now know, so you have all these ingredients. You're like, these ingredients look pretty good. And then now we, however, now know that when you mixed them up and you put them in the oven, you took them out and you took a bite, like this tastes like shit. So the prediction today is based on the performance up to today.
Sure.
Again, if this was week 4, I would predict a Jets win. Right, coming off right after the Patriots game, winning 2 games in a row. No, well, after that they won 2 games in a row. But anyways, that time of the year, I would be like, oh, this would be a little bit of a shootout with Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball all over the place. This is probably a 35-33 game Jets win, or even, sadly, this is not where we're at. My prediction for this game is 28-16 Dolphins.
Yeah, like I said, I'll be making my official prediction tomorrow, but I'm sure it won't be far off from that. It's an unfortunate reality where the Jets are. The Dolphins still have a shot legitimately at the playoffs. Again, to your point, they need some help in front of them because all the wildcard teams have 8 wins. So, right. But some of them, anywho, long story, I don't give a shit. This isn't a Dolphins podcast. So, but long story short, they have a path. Legitimate. The Jets do not.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Which is what.
And their schedule's not that tough.
No, right. You look at the Dolphins, they could friggin' win out. They could win all these games. Now, that still might not be enough because of the Packers loss.
If they went out, they have 10 wins. But, right, that'd still mean that somebody had an epic collapse if they snuck in.
Right, because of what's set up in front of them. Again, no 10-win team over the last 3 years has missed the playoffs or gotten a 10 wins. So maybe it just means that the Dolphins just won't get there. But no, if a team has won 10 games, they've made the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Teams implode all the time. So we'll see if there's a flip or anything. But yeah, the Dolphins have a chance. If the Jets lose, their playoff hopes are over. And that would be normally a rallying cry for me to say, this is where the Jets will say, okay, you have the animal backed into a corner here. Enough of the bullshit. This is where they're going to respond. Unfortunately, there have been multiple of these moments throughout the season where their back's against the wall, and now's the time. The Buffalo Bills game week 6, Jeff Ulbricht's first game, we have a chance to go in first place in the AFC. They lost. Pittsburgh game. Okay, now we got to stop fucking around. We got this game. They lost. New England second time. Okay. Now enough of the bullshit. We at least are going to beat the Patriots, right? You lose that one. So there's just been so many moments throughout the season of like your back's against wall. Okay, never mind. Your back's against wall. Shit, never mind. And they've just folded in these important moments in the season. And eventually you just have to say, oh shit, this is who they are, right? Jeff Ulbricht kept coming. This was another Ulbrichtism after every game. Well, that's not who we are. Well, when you're the coach for 7-8 games and you keep losing the same way, well, I guess that's kind of who you are. You said that's not who we are, but well, that is who you are based on the results.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, to the motivators point, right, that Miami Dolphins are historically the pre-Harbaugh Chargers in contention, right, where you spot everybody a bunch of games and then you make this huge charge at the end. That's how Norv Turner, right? Yeah, that's how Norv Turner kept his job so long.
Yeah,
the Chargers would go like 0-4 and 0-5, and they go on like a 7-game win. Oh man, we'll keep Norv around, right? Well, and so that's the Dolphins, right? They shit the bed, and then somehow at the end they come on strong.
And I'm not surprised because Tua played in all 17 games last year. And I said, look at his fucking career. That's an outlier, folks. But it worked out for him timing-wise because he got paid handsomely by the Miami Dolphins. I said, and as soon as he got the contract, I'm like, good for Tua because, he's never going to be healthy again. Not that I'm rooting against a guy from that perspective. I don't want people getting hurt. But Like, look at his career. He just can't stay healthy, and missing that chunk of games in the middle of the season where they were losing by default because they couldn't compete with their shitty-ass quarterback conversation. That's really what happened. Yeah, perhaps. But that's where everything all fell through on their thing, whether it was, to your point, Pro Bowler Tyron Huntley or whoever the other stupid kid is. I can't even remember who was
Skylar.
There it is, Skylar Thompson. Thank you. That had to be in that playoff game or what have you, or Mike White or anything. Again, they have no one to blame but themselves for the backup quarterback situation. But yeah, missing that time in the middle of the season may ultimately cost them and give them too much margin for error that they couldn't make up later. But anywho, there you go. So like I said,
Agent Zero will come out strong today. So
I
the
hope
running
so.
game will be good. I'm confident of that.
Again, yeah, we'll have that game again tomorrow at 1:00. All right, Pop, anytime for phone calls.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's play a Hep song to get you guys in the mood, and then we'll come back with, again, some calls you guys can chime in on. And again, make sure you guys gift channel memberships. That's your chance, or super chat them, or PayPal or Venmo, literally any option. All of it's on the scrolling ticker if you want to write down the information so you guys can get involved. Again, every single time you guys commit to the show, you get a chance for a raffle ticket for a bunch of Jets prizes we'll be giving away at the end of the month. You get your bang for your buck. You help support the show, and it's just kind of beautiful for everybody. But calls up next.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy.
I'll tell you this, because my dad hates the current intro with Aaron freaking Rodgers. My request as we make a new intro, because I'll probably go over to Gator for the new intro, is that Hep song. I'm going to make sure that's part of the very fabric of the next intro moving forward, because a special moment in this show's history, and one I will never forget. So, yes, Hep is our captain. Oh, yes, he is. Damn straight. All right, let's go to the phone lines because we got, Hep on the show, baby. What's up, Hep?
Wow. I love that part of the song. Wow.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Very custom.
I initially made a digital recording, but I'm so inept at again coming into the 21st century that I'm so old school, you know. But yeah. I had made it originally, and I had taken the wow off the Super Chat wow, and I had inserted it in there with the drum machine and the guitars, and it but it didn't come over the speakers too good. You know, Nick was on at the time.
Yeah,
and we tried to put it, but I don't know. I got to get it together.
That's okay, but that sounds good. So, like I said, on the next intro, that'll 100% be a part of it, baby.
All right. So I was thinking about this game coming up, the Allen Davis show.
Yeah,
I think this might be like what the Vrabel show might look like.
Ooh, I like
right?
it. Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
That's kind of his MO, the big, powerful guy. Now, if that's the case, does that make I mean, I don't want to get rid of Breece Hall for a used Band-Aid or anything. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. I don't know why they make these trades sometimes. I can see if you're not going to get anything, but do any of the big four you think expendable going in?
I hate, again, Hep, I think we're both in the same waters of, like, we don't want to say the quiet part out loud, but the quiet part is this. If Zach Rosenblatt's right, and he says it would not be a surprise if Breece Hall gets shut down, which means he would be placed on IR. If that happens, the Jets are like, well, now we get a look at what life would look like without Breece Hall in this random example. And if Braylon shows some chutzpah and Isaiah Davis shows something, you're like, so we can be not halfway bad. Again, Breece is great, but we can be not halfway bad with these random guys in this middle part of the season. I think the expendable one of the group to me, and I hate to say it because, again, I'm a former running back. I love running backs. I want Breece here forever if I could. But the fact of the matter is he would be the guy. And then heading into the last year of his rookie deal, in theory, this offseason, this new regime comes in and says, hey, let's accelerate this rebuild. Let's send Breece to some contender to do the Saquon Barkley thing, basically. And again, obviously, Breece has not had the success that someone like Saquon has had, but I'm trying to think of the team. I don't even know. it would kill me to see him in Buffalo. But like the Chiefs, I don't know, because like Pacheco and all that might be a free agent. But you send him somewhere like that, and you get. To me, I think they could get a Christian McCaffrey-like package, like a second and a bunch of mid-round picks. I don't think they're getting a first, but like a second, fourth, fifth, or something like that. And again, for the Jets, you go, shit, well, we'd rather have Reese, but that means you're going to eventually have to pay him. Hey, if this group looks good. So some of those difficult decisions. Long story short, I think Brees is unfortunately the answer to that unpopular trivia question at your local pub, but I think that's a God-honest truth.
Well, a second round draft pick is of value. I mean, even if we, because AVT, I'm nervous about him too. I mean, he's been injured the whole time, and I love the way he plays. But if you're not on the field, you're not doing anybody any good, right?
Best ability is availability, and he's been banged up, and he's back next year anyway for the contract. But I think what you're saying is the real future of AVT and what's happening there on the line. So he could be another one that's expendable too.
The other thing I'm considering, I was thinking about CJ Mosley. I always thought he would be a good coach, go into coaching. I think he really, he commands the respect of a lot of these players. And I thought maybe he could be with the Saleh regime. I thought maybe they could bring him in and show him the ropes, because Saleh is a good defensive coach. I mean, that's the bottom line.
No doubt about it. Yeah, and shout out to Mosley, because to be honest, he's been a coach all year. He's played in only 4 games this year, and he's had the headset on. He's been talking to Jamie, and so he's gotten a taste of it. Again, the coaching life is an incredible grind, especially at the NFL level. But obviously, he's got the intelligence for it, and he's got like the people skills for it. I'd love to see it.
Are you still lugging the laundry with your hernia?
Yeah, right now we are. Yeah, but I got an early Christmas gift, these laundry sacks like Santa Claus, and I've been kind of, utilizing that. So, we'll figure it out. Eventually, maybe that'll be a Christmas gift from the gods. We'll see what happens.
I've been looking on Facebook Messenger up by up in your area.
Yeah.
And some people are almost giving these things away because they're moving from the house and they have to get rid of them and stuff like that.
I'm gonna jump on top of it.
Yeah, look on Facebook Messenger. You could probably get something. I don't know what your situation is as far as your landlord.
Yeah.
Where you would put the old dryer and all that.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah, right.
But anyway, I'm looking out for you. Peace.
Thanks, Hep. Appreciate you. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace, looking out for a washer or dryer. Appreciate him looking out for me, though. Yeah, right now we've been using the laundromat, not to get into incredibly personal business here, but yeah, and every 2 weeks or something, I get a couple of these big laundry Santa sacks and just gotta chuck it in the car. Then we got 2 baby car seats now. So now it's normally where I threw the sacks, and I'm throwing the sacks in the trunk like a human body, and just gotta chuck it in. It's a whole lot of hoopla, really.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Boy Green is incredibly cheap.
Oh, well, wait, just a selective. Okay.
No, he is a cheap ass.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna tell stories about how you wouldn't pay $30 for a dresser so your fiance could have place to put her clothes because $30 was too much. You tried to go down to $20. I'm not going to tell people about how you gave up the dishwasher that she wanted and then how
it was
how you had to deal
$50.
That
there's a negotiation. There's an art of negotiation.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to try and help you out here. So buckle up.
Okay.
So how much you spend when you go to the laundry?
Let me try to.
You the abacus?
Yeah. I'm putting all the numbers around up in my brain there. So 12, like $20 maybe, something like that. $20 a trip.
Well, right.
It depends, like
you
how
long clothes fully. So, but anyway, so it's $25, and how often you do that?
Sure. Once every 2 weeks or something.
All right. So I think you're rounding down a little bit. But anyways, that $50 or $75 you're spending a month to do the laundry, it would cost you $0. Let me say that again. Agent $0. Okay. If you found your way to look on Facebook Marketplace, you could probably get a washer and dryer combined for $100. And then if you extrapolate, beep, boop, boop, if you extrapolated it out after like 2 months, you're making money. And forget the fact that with the beard, the sacks, and your other physical properties, you're already trying out to be the next Santa Claus. You could eliminate all of that.
Okay, well, I'll put that on my list down here. So I have two things. Well, that's the first thing on my list was getting the moron voice, adding that to. We'll probably reach out to Gator because like Jake Asman has to send him to the Shadow Realm, send him
that's right.
to the Moron House. So we'll have to work on that. So that's on my list. And now for HEPA washer dryer on the Facebook Marketplace. Okay.
You sound like an old. I'm the Facebook market. You push up your glasses. I'm the Facebook Marketplace. I got to investigate that.
Yeah, give that a gander. We'll
check that out.
Okay,
I'll put on the old spectacles and fire up the old computer.
Okay, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I'm able to do that. All right, let's. We got nearly 400 people in the room, so make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, spread the gospel. Boy Greendale again. Those raffle tickets are firing, baby. Let's go back to the phone line. We got NY Jets FL here on the show.
Morning, Paul Senior, Paul Junior.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just working, dropping a 10 here. Couple things. I know some people are late to the bandwagon of trading players. We probably should have maybe thought about flipping a couple at the deadline, which some people advocated for. But hey, better late to the party than never. Some people have the foresight. Some people don't. On that note, Paul. Paul Senior, the Cowboys are making the playoffs. No doubt, Cowboys are making the playoffs to Cooper Rush. I don't know how far they're going to get, but they are definitely going to make the playoffs. Is that a good thing for you, or not necessarily?
Any opportunity, if you could make it to the playoffs, is a good one. And I think so. I wouldn't say it's not a bad thing.
Wait a second. Let me pull up the NFL playoff picture here. Yes, I have it in front of me. The Cowboys are currently the 12th seed. Now, that would be great if this was the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, it's not. This is the National Football League where only 7 seeds make it. How in God's green earth are the Cowboys making the playoffs here, NY Jets FL?
The NFC is so weak, Paul. You got to look at the teams in front of them. Cowboys are playing well, actually. They're actually playing pretty well. I'm trying to think. I don't have the stats up.
I have them in front of me, the teams that are in front. So, yeah, they have the 10-2 Vikings. I don't know if that's happening. They got the 9-4 Packers.
You're looking at the wrong schedule. You're looking at the wrong schedule.
I'm not looking at the schedule, not the schedule day. We're talking about the standings, the teams that are in front of them.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the wild card of the NFC. These are the teams in front of them. The 10-2 Vikings, the 9-4 Packers, and the 8-5 Commanders. Those are the 3 wild card teams in the NFC. And here are the teams ahead of them. They're not in the playoffs. They're just ahead of them in the hunt. It is the 6-6 Bucks, the 6-6 Cardinals, the 6-6 Rams, the 5-7 49ers are ahead of them based on conference tiebreakers, I would assume. And then you have the 5-7 Cowboys. They're in the 12th hole right now.
Yeah, I still think based on the record, who they play. Go ahead, Paul Senior.
Yeah, I think there's a chance. Just for the record, I think there is a reasonable chance for them to make the playoffs. I would say what people don't realize about you talk about when teams lose starters here and there for the year. If you just talked about the Pro Bowlers that the Cowboys have been not played with this year, Pro Bowler. I'm not talking about players that have been out, starters have been out. The Pro Bowlers and some at the top of their position. They have 2 of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Now, listen. So, moron, just listen. What I'm saying is they're now going to be – all these people are coming back. So I'm not saying cry them a river. The fact is they're going to have Bland and Diggs on the field, which is one of the best cornerback combos in the league. They're going to have DeMarcus Lawrence back on the field. Micah Parsons is now playing. These people are coming back, and they play the Bengals, which they need to beat. Then they play the Panthers. They play the Redskins, or whatever they're calling themselves today. It is a viable thing that they could run the table winning 7 games in a row. And I didn't even bring this topic up, but I'm telling you that it is possible. Am I saying it's likely? I'm not saying that. I'm saying there is a path that they could make the playoffs.
Washington, too, they would have the tiebreaker over them if they went. They beat them again.
That's right.
That they can definitely catch them. Hey, sorry, Paul. I'm not trying to bring. I'm not trying to bring our spirits down as Jet fans. But let me say one more thing. I know you got a lot of callers. Joe Burrow should be the MVP. Not even close, especially if he hits 50 touchdowns or anywhere close. Paul, he's been sacked 30. He's been sacked 30 times. 30 times. Lamar's been sacked 19. Okay,
Crazy.
his offensive line sucks. His defense sucks. He's got 30 touchdowns and 5 picks, and he leads the league in yards. Throwing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he definitely should be in the discussion. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the guy has no help. I mean, basically, he's a one-man show over there.
And just realize that poor bastard who's been sacked 30 times. What's it going to look like on Monday night when number 11 is going after him?
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
He's going
to eat.
He's going to struggle. And you know, Rodgers is right. Rodgers is right and wrong about one thing. He brings a lot to the table from his legacy purposes, not from his recent play. So he is technically auditioning for another team. I mean, he can say all he wants. He could be pissed off all he wants. You know, Aaron, you're not 28, 30 anymore, Aaron. You're the 41-year-old Aaron. Don't be pissed off. You're going to have to deal with it. And if you're not what you are, then that's how it is, Aaron. Everyone gets old.
That's
all
old.
I got.
Thanks, NY Jets FL. Appreciate you. That's a good note. Everyone gets old. And again, whether I agree with NY Jets FL, whether Aaron wants to admit it or not, if he looks like shit in these final 5 games, not only is his Jets career or tenure in jeopardy for obvious reasons, as it already is right now, if he looks like shit, what team, even that it's a quarterback away, which I've talked about, the Giants could be not a quarterback away, that they need a quarterback desperately. I could see the Giants going, yeah, sure, Aaron Rodgers. I could see the Saints, who might move on from Derek Carr. The Vikings, who are a contender that would be missing a quarterback, which would be intriguing to Rodgers. I could see a couple of those. But if he looks like shit, I don't know if all those teams are suddenly, give me Aaron Rodgers.
And really, why? You know,
What do you mean?
He is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what would inspire. Like, why would he come back? Like, why would he come back? Especially
because he doesn't want to go out like that. Yeah,
sure. But the problem is, the worst problem is somebody's gonna. I don't expect, and I would love to be wrong. I would love for him to catch fire for something that whatever's broken to click if it was possible, and they win the next 5 games. That would be amazing. To show everybody, the Jets wouldn't go to the playoffs, but to show everybody this is really what it looked like, that'd be great. But the truth is that's not what's going to happen. So when unfortunately, the 5 games look like all these other games, right? Then you just you just tap out, right? You don't get back in the ring like Roy Jones Jr. Unfortunately, God rest his soul, he's not dead. But it hurt to watch that. I love Roy Jones Jr. And it just was painful to watch. It's just painful to watch.
He didn't have it. Yeah.
And so finish the 5 games, Aaron. Just be quiet. And we know what you bring to the table. That's the problem. Your statement rings true. Well, if they don't know what I bring to the table, every Jets fan is very clear on what you are currently bringing to the table.
Let's go back to the phone lines. We got Ricky New York live here on the show. What's up, Ricky? Good morning.
Hey, Ricky.
What's happening? I think he worded that wrong. I think he's thinking of what he brought to the table past tense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not what he's bringing currently. Unfortunately, I think maybe Rodgers is a little bit confused. I think he thinks he's still bringing that same thing to the table, and unfortunately, he's not. I had some other points to make, but you guys got me fired up talking all the linebacker talk today, and
Ricky.
You
got fired up, and
he got fired up. That's a cool shirt he has on, by the way.
That is. I wasn't sure if those are sort of Squanto poncho.
That's what I was thinking. Is
like
an
Indian?
Is that a Jets logo right there?
I'm not sure. He's frozen, but that appears to be of some Native American descent.
That's what I was thinking.
Perhaps.
But see it right there, right above his hand. Is that a logo? A Jets logo?
I don't think so.
No.
Like, how do you, if someone freezes to death, how do you, because like it's dangerous if they're frozen like a block to like try to, kind of hack away at the thing, or unless he's like cryogenically frozen in an Austin Powers sense.
Right.
And he, that happened on his end. He just collapsed. I would have tried to do what I can to.
By the way, on the chat,
yeah.
There's a word that people don't use that often. There's probably a reason for it. Queer. So somebody just threw out the queer word. By the way, that word used to be a common vernacular. It's not used a lot anymore.
No.
And by the way, it actually has a real definition. Like queer just means odd, different. It's not what everyone uses it for.
Well,
it's like, while we're using words like fag, it's actually a cigarette, right? Or a bundle
or
of
stick.
twigs. Right.
I don't.
But anyways, I didn't really read the chat, but I saw the queer, like it was like queer. Like Johnny worldwide, wide.
Sort of, yeah. It kind of has the same effect. I've kind of removed that word from the vernacular. Not sure if that's politically correct anymore.
Right, you have to be. You can't. You're not walking down the street, and there's a list of words we used to say often.
Yeah, I bet there is.
Watch where you're going, queer.
Yeah.
The whole world would stop.
Yeah.
What'd that guy say?
I don't think he could do that anymore, Pop.
No,
but anywho,
can't stand on a table in the library anymore and start yelling at people while you're eating a stolen crab leg. That's not allowed anymore.
The rules in this society. I think we got Ricky back. Let's try that again. Ricky.
Yeah, sorry about that, Paul.
Right. We heard you got fired up for linebackers and then you froze like a block.
Yeah. I thought I kind of saw the expression on your face, and then my eye drifted down to the corner, and I saw my signal thing was gone, and I had to reload the whole page. But at any rate, kind of like Antonio Cromartie is interning for coaching the Jets right now. Man, it would be great if they could bring CJ back in a role like that and keep him involved with the team. And just, I thought it was interesting. You mentioned how Vilma went on to, win a Super Bowl after he left the Jets.
Yes.
When David Harris left the Jets, he signed with the Patriots, and they won a Super Bowl that year. He was on the roster, even though he didn't really personally have anything to do with it. But the last middle linebacker we had before David Harris, before Jonathan Vilma, was James Ferrier, who we let go, who went on to win a Super Bowl with the Steelers.
Yeah.
So we had a kind of a history of having good middle linebackers that we let go. And then when they actually paid to bring CJ Mosley in, I was so happy because I was like, finally, we're paying one and not getting rid of one. And I'm a huge fan of Mosley. That being said, I wanted to move on to the topic of coaching because I was actually on hold yesterday when you were talking to Alan at the end of the show, and I didn't get to come on at that point. Like his whole take with the only job Ben Johnson should want is the Bears job, and his reasons were because of the talent on the team, which last I checked, top to bottom, it is not as good as the talent what we have. The only point that I could see is, they have the quarterback, where our quarterback would be a question. If you're looking at it from the lens of Rodgers being the quarterback. However, dude, he hasn't been like the end all. He's had his top the field on him. He's taken sacks, and okay, well, Caleb was like the top this year. The prior, it was yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It's like when you're talking to back in the day when you had a girlfriend and you're like, I'm like you're out in town and you right. Every other word can't love to but have a
I'm sorry, Ricky, your Wi-Fi. I don't know what's happening there, but I will give a quick correction, though. I think Ricky said this before. David Harris did not win a Super Bowl ring with the New England Patriots. So after he left the Jets, he signed a 2-year deal for $5 million with the Patriots. He played for them for that first year. They were in the Super Bowl. They lost it to the Philadelphia Eagles. He retired after that season. And then the Patriots won the Super Bowl the next year. That was that shitty Patriots-Rams Super Bowl. So technically, if Harris just would have played out his contract, he would have a Super Bowl ring. Although I'm not sure how I'd feel about it as a Jets fan, him having a ring as a Patriot guy like Darrelle Revis. So while, I root for Harris and I love him and all the stats you brought up earlier, and I think people forget how good he was, I'm kind of glad he does not have a Super Bowl ring with the Patriots, although he could have, should have, would have for that. But salute to David Hitman Harris, who, by the way, is only 40 years of age. I thought he was much older now, so I'm glad he's
those
not.
Are some of my most famous recent Super Bowl moments are that's trick play with the Eagles that helped them win the Super
Philly
Bowl.
special. Yeah.
Yep. Your book there that you should never have bought, The Catch. All those Patriots losing the Super Bowl moments. Those are amazing.
I might have to put that up for sale. I might have to put some of my David Tyree merch up for sale there.
Nobody wants it. I told you shouldn't have bought it.
People want it.
Do you remember when I said don't buy it, moron?
I got into a bidding war with a former intern.
The merchant that won't buy his fiance a $30 dresser paid in excess of a C note for a book about somebody that nobody gives a shit about.
It's not just a book. There's also behind this Madden video game is an autographed football with David Tyree with the Super Bowl. It's a whole thing. Anywho, it's a very valued item. Which again, if the right
moron.
If the right Giants fan gives me the right price for it, I would consider selling it as a package deal. But
if you broke even, that's the price you should take. If you took a loss of like $10 or $15, that's the price you should take.
Yeah, I paid $200+ for that combination.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that out loud.
Well, I want to be straight for the next person that I sell it to. This
is a person that would buy a loaf of bread for $1 and have it for lunch and dinner at the radio station, not because he didn't have more money, because he's a cheap ass, right? But you spent $200 on something nobody else wanted.
Again, I got to work on the price range things. But, when I save on and eat bread as meals, that gives me opportunities to go willy-nilly for David Tyree football. So the whole world kind of goes circular. Anywho, let's go back to the phone lines. Alan here on the show. What's up, Alan?
First of all, there's no better Ricky NY call than a silent Ricky NY call. So I love it. I love when he froze. It was great.
Twice, too.
Morning, boys. First of all, Paul Sr., Ashton Genty went to high school mere miles from the Cowboys facility, so he'd be a really good pickup for the Cowboys in round one for you guys. That guy is unbelievable. Unfortunately, Travis Hunter mania is everywhere, so Genty will be the runner-up of the Heisman next week. Couple of comments. Joe Douglas did some good here. I'm not a fan of his. He did some good. He brought some young talent here. Unfortunately, the credit card is due in 2025. There are about 6-7 guys that will be on the dead cap that will not be on the roster. Mm-hmm. Reed, Smith, Conklin.
Yeah. Hassan Reddick is going to be on there, I think.
Kinlaw. So the idea of us paying Davante Adams when you know that there's going to be a huge credit card payment due makes no sense. So I'm of the belief that you take your medicine in 2025, you cut everybody, you have your $100 million dead cap hit, and that includes the $49 million of Aaron Rodgers. You cut Davante Adams, you cut Allen Lazard. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a fun 2025. But again, that's what you have to do. The idea of bringing Aaron Rodgers back is delaying the inevitable. He's 41 years old, and he's washed. I love listening to old Aaron Rodgers press conferences when he was in Green Bay. I love cockiness. I love arrogance. What you heard on that press conference with the Jets is an imposter, okay? No one likes to hear guys talking cocky when you can't win games in the clutch, okay? It's enough. Over. That's why when Ben Johnson talks arrogance, he has a right to do so because he knows he's a wanted commodity. No one wants a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers anymore. It's over. Oof. And honestly, what's best for the Jets is for them to go 3-14. So all these Rodgers backers and wannabes could realize that it's time to sweep him under the rug. It ended up being a failure. You had hoped you were going to get 2 really good years out of him. It's over. I laugh at people who say, oh, he's going to come back and he's going to be better than ever. He's 41 years old. He can't move. He's petrified of getting hit. I love that Leonard Williams quote because it was right on point. He's like, he's an old guy who doesn't want to get hit. And when that happens, it's over. I laugh at people who think that we're getting the old Aaron Rodgers back. It's not happening. And I just don't understand why people are just living in the past. It's gone. It's finished.
Well, to your point, the finish of 3-14 would end any of the. To your point,
Yes.
the Rodgers people that are on the edge saying, "Well, we saw a spark. We saw it. Like we got to bring it back." To your point, the 3-14 would obviously kill that off and say, "Okay, obviously there was no spark. That thing is dead. Like you could poke it with a stick. Yeah, that thing ain't moving. That thing is dead." And perhaps that's best just to again take your lumps from the dead cap perspective in which you're referencing. Like, and again, if they move on from Aaron Rodgers, which it seems likely they will. I would eat all of it this year and just take it on the chin. Don't spread the wound. Don't make it worse. It is what it is, and just take it.
And I will more than guarantee that Aaron Rodgers will not be the starting quarterback week 18 against the Dolphins at home.
Ooh,
there is no chance he will be in that building at, let's say, 4-12 or 3-13 in front of a 85% Dolphin fan base. You think he wants to be there? He'll be on a beach drinking a Mai Tai. There's
or
no.
Oh, there you go. Sure.
Yeah, it's over. Okay. But I laugh at Jet fans who want to live in the past, who think that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, a new body, a new mind, a guy who's going to win games like he did in Green Bay. It's just not going to happen. I just want to eat my lumps in 2025, hopefully bring in competent management. If you have to start Tyrod Taylor and draft a guy in round 2 or 3 and be his understudy, that works for me. But again, 4-13 in 2025 works for me if they are in the Arch Manning, Nico Iamavella market. That's what I'm thinking right now. I'm not even thinking about 2024, or I'm not even really thinking about success in 2025. The Jets' new season actually is 2026. And unfortunately, it's the reality. They went all in 2023. They went all in 2024. And like the Jet organizations have passed, they shit the bed. Unfortunately, you have to be honest. Some people need brutal honesty, and that's what I bring to the table here. But
Alan, appreciate the call.
Anytime. Okay. Have a good one.
There he is.
Yeah. By the way, Alan looks like Hudson Hawk from a Bruce Willis movie from 1991.
Wow.
He was a cat burglar. So he looks like he just climbed out of a window with that little beanie on. He looks, Hudson Hawk. Look at it. It's a Bruce Willis movie from his heyday.
Which, again, shout out to Bruce Willis's family. He's going through some tough times right now, which are very sad for old Bruce Willis. But, Pop, thanks for joining us on the show. I'll take one more call, but I know you have to go on.
Bacon light is lit.
Yeah, we can see it from here. So, Pop, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you soon. Happy holidays.
All right, everyone, have a great weekend. Peace and love.
Okay, there he is. Pop joining us here on the show. I'll take one more call real quick. Let's go to our guy, Neil Sr. here with the bucket hat equipped. What's up, Neil? How we doing?
What's up, Paul? Nothing like waking up and hearing Alan's negativity. It's just like he's the ultimate villain in this whole thing. But, one thing Alan never has, he never has remedies. He always has the negative part. And, his thought process of what it is moving forward is that we shit the bed another year so we could get Arch Manning. Oh, that's a great idea. Let's lose out next year and win 2 games so we could watch another miserable season, and then we'll get Arch Manning. Because guess what? Arch Manning is really going to want to come to the Jets, especially with his father, who didn't want Peyton to come to the Jets because we sucked. But if we have another big losing season and lose out this year, Arch Manning's going to be very excited to come to the Jets, wouldn't you say there, Paul? Especially if we have a new coach next year and win 3 games with a new coach. That's a great idea by Allen. He might as well just, if he could just shut the, you know what. Anyway, one linebacker we forgot about that was a former Jet that went on to have big success. And his
DeMario?
There you go. Did he win a
Damari
Super
did.
Bowl with the Saints? Was he
No.
there when they won the Super Bowl?
He was not. He was not there
No.
when they won it. But obviously, Damari's been an All-Pro. He's been awesome. So
Oh,
I'm glad that
God.
you brought him up. So he's been an amazing player. I'm so happy for him. He's a very strong religious guy. So yeah, Demario. He's another great
Well,
one.
I'll give you the biggest disappointment
Okay.
in Jets history. The biggest guy we let go of in history of the New York Jets that went
Okay.
on to win a Super Bowl. You know what it is?
The biggest guy we let go that went on to have Super Bowl success. Okay, let me think.
I'll tell you, not only did he have Super Bowl success, I'll give you a hint. He was the MVP in the Super Bowl. How about that?
Whoa. Oh, well, it's reverse, but Santonio Holmes, he won a Super Bowl MVP that came to us.
Oh, okay. The name, John Riggins.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
brutal.
the name. When I was a little tyke, and John Riggins was my favorite player.
Yeah.
And when we used to play, sandlot football, I had my 44 jersey on. I wanted to get a mohawk like Riggins, but that was forbidden. I had to. Actually, I had an afro that looked like John Riggins, so I played the part pretty well.
Here we got an autographed John Riggins. Shout out to our boy, who's we got John Riggins here. Beautiful, nice little John Riggins autograph merch here. Very nice.
I'm going to tell you something. You better take some of that autographed merch and dump it and get a washer dryer, for Christ's sakes. Or get your, and I get a little annoyed at your pop for calling you a cheap bastard. The reality is, if I had a son that didn't have a washer and dryer, had to go to a laundromat, I'd be buying him a washer dryer for Christmas or something.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Neil.
Or on Hanukkah? Are you Jewish, Paul?
Not that I'm aware of, but
right.
hey.
So for Christmas, if your pops doesn't get you a washer dryer, maybe that's a suggestion. Maybe you should have one of your kids, your little beautiful daughter there, where it goes, wow.
Yeah.
Have her write a letter to Pop saying that we want a washer and dryer for Christmas, so you don't have to go run down to the goddamn laundromat. Okay. If not, I might buy you one. If I didn't have so many people to feed here, you have no idea what I do for my family in Christmas and the holidays and every other part of the year. It's ridiculous. I am the real Santa Claus. But anyway, that being said, as far as Aaron Rodgers goes, everybody, there's one problem with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
He's obviously got a problem which haunts a lot of quarterbacks, and he's got the yips there when he gets the ball, and he has it for more than 2 seconds in his hand because he starts looking at the line. He throws quickly. The ultimate thing was that they faked the blitz on him on that Leonard Williams thing, dropped everybody back, and he threw the ball like a hot potato. And Conklin was alone in the left side of the end zone with nobody on him. But that goes with the consistency of getting hit. Now, I'm not 41 years old, and when I was 41 years old and I got hit, it doesn't feel like the same as when you're 31 years old. Let's face it. But
of course, yeah.
But that being said, one thing Brady did really well is, and Peyton Manning, Brady in particular and Manning, when they aged and they got rushed, Brady did one of two things when somebody was getting near him. He either went into a fetal position or he threw the ball into the stands. Step two. I mean, in reality, you only got to take 2 steps out of the pocket when you're being rushed and throw the ball into the stands and get back in the huddle. I mean, it's not that difficult to keep yourself healthy when you're 41 years old if you have a brain, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The problem here's what's happening with Aaron. He really still thinks he didn't really comprehend the fact that he has to change his game a little bit. He's in that stage now where he has to adjust. He doesn't have the 97-mile-an-hour fastball if you equate it to a pitcher, but he has to, it doesn't mean he can't be a good pitcher still if he learns how to place the ball on either side and throw it a little slower and do it. I think of Cologne when the pitcher Cologne on the Mets.
Yes. Yeah.
He had a 98-mile-an-hour fastball in the beginning of his career, but at the end of his career, he was able to throw that ball 93, but he put it on the inside and outside part of the corner, and he was still an effective pitcher.
Big sexy, yeah.
Now, I think Aaron Rodgers could still be an effective quarterback. What he has to do in these last 5 games is kind of like, adjust his game. And for anybody that says that can't happen, that he's washed, look at what's happening with Russell Wilson. It's a perfect example. I mean, Russell Wilson looked like a dead fish in Denver. He looked like dog shit. Okay? We made him look like dog shit, and that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But where is he now?
Top of the world.
Yeah, he looks pretty damn good, doesn't he, Paul?
Yeah, pretty dang good. Yep.
And look at Baker Mayfield, another example.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something. Baker Mayfield is my MVP vote.
Ooh.
Okay? If Tampa Bay gets to the playoffs and they do some damage, Baker Mayfield should be the MVP. Okay? He's doing it without Evans.
That's true.
And I'm going to tell you something, man. I watched Baker Mayfield, but that guy's got a set of cojones.
That's for sure. Big set.
My God, Paul. He fights off the rush, ducks under guys. He runs with the ball, and he's not that super athletic like a lot of these other running quarterbacks. And he'll throw a pick. He'll come right back out and drive down the field and score. He has no memory. Okay? And he's gutsy, and he sits there, and he takes the hits when he delivers the ball. Okay? That's an MVP right there. And I tell you, I would love to have Baker Mayfield on my team anytime. Okay?
Yeah.
And there's another example of a quarterback that really looked like shit and might be out of football.
Yeah.
So,
and then he reinvented himself. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if you could really, we're all emotional people. We're all emotional Jet fans. We're all crapped out, shocked, disappointed like I've never been disappointed before, only because of our expectations for the year. But in reality, if you just sit back and relax, okay, it's not like we have an abundance of choices. If we trash out the season now and our draft pick goes from number 6 to number 2, it's not going to make a shit of a difference. All right? It's not. Shador Sanders is not coming to the Jets. Let's face it. All right? So that being said, and then, again, I saw this thing on this kid Jordan that we took last year.
Travis. Yeah.
Travis.
Yeah.
This kid's got a great story. He may end up being a great quarterback. We don't know what we have with him yet. Let's take a breath, see what we have with him next year, okay? And, as far as what I like, I mean, what do we want to see? Are we going to run it back with Sam Darnold again? Look, Sam Darnold, if you put pressure on him and he doesn't have the line that the Minnesota Vikings have been providing him with, even in the game we played against them, Paul, if you remember, when we put pressure on him, Will McDonald was in his face. He's not the same quarterback
Definitely not.
with pressure than he is when he doesn't have pressure. But I will say this. He's gotten a hell of a lot better. I mean,
no doubt. They're friggin' 10-2. I mean, they're awesome.
I tell you, man, he's playing with you know what it is? Sam Darnold developed a chip on his shoulder. He really,
definitely did.
Yeah, he's kind of getting a lot of callous. Okay?
You're welcome, Sam. You're welcome.
Yeah. We gave him a lot of callous. And you know what?
Did.
If we really look back at it, the biggest mistake we made this year.
Yeah.
And again, where we are and what we're doing right now, it has nothing. It's got a lot to do with Aaron Rodgers, but let's be real. He's not the real reason we're 3-9 right now. He's not the main reason. Okay. The main reason is coaching and decision making and leadership, which we lack all three because a leader and a coach. Okay. For Woody Johnson to have to chime in and say, maybe we could bench Aaron Rodgers after the Denver game. Look, everybody said he said to do that because he wasn't playing well. No, it's because he was injured. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Common sense would say after that game and seeing the way he got the shit kicked out of him, why let it, and Aaron Rodgers is a, Hall of Fame quarterbacks are going to play. And, Aaron Rodgers' history plays with a broken thumb. He plays with a broken rib. He's a warrior. He's going to go out there and play. Okay. So if you give him the choice The choice is I'm going out there. He needs a coach to say, oh, buddy, when he came out of that tent, remember? And he ran back on the field.
Vikings game, yep.
Okay. You know what a good coach would do, what Vrabel would do?
What's that?
He'd stand in front of him, put his hand up, go sit down. Go sit down. Taylor, in.
Yeah.
Okay? This way, you give the guy a couple of games to cool down, readjust the line, because at that point our line was playing like shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And we were a sieve. And you know what? Let Tyrod Taylor go out there and take the punishment, regroup. We could have had 3 games with Taylor. We probably would have won at least one of them, maybe 2.
Sure.
And then we could have brought Rodgers in healthy. Because last week, regardless of the situation, he moved, he threw blocks, he actually moved around in the pocket. Okay. The problem was that he still got the yips. He's still looking at that line of scrimmage and rushing the ball.
And it will forever be the NFL on Aaron Rodgers, which, hey, man, here we are. I appreciate, Neil, you're fighting for washer and dryer. We'll see what happens there with the holiday spirit. And thanks to the 500 people that are watching live and everyone who watched throughout the entire show. God bless. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow for a game day Jets-Dolphins episode, everybody. We'll see.